Now another interesting area wherein business and intelligence can be applied is the banking sector. Now banking is a broad sector, and lot many critical data, crucial data, information, credentials available, right? So business intelligence, how it can be useful here is like, uh, let's say, automating the loan application process. The decision model can be generated for this. How? By by taking the past data that predicts the likelihood of the loan proving successful. Whichever the loans which were proven as successful, it can be the model can be generated for that, for the prediction. Now these can be inserted in the business process to automate the complete process, to automate the financial loan approval process. Detecting the fraudulent transaction, this is again, uh, billions of transactions happen around the world every day, and exceptions seeking model can identify patterns of the fraudulent transaction. For example, if money is being transferred to an unrelated account for the first time, it can be a fraudulent transaction. It can be a, right. It becomes a potential candidate to be called as a fraudulent transaction unless it is proven as the non fraudulent or a genuine transaction, right. So detection of those cases, then maximize customer value by cross selling or upselling, again, which applies same in the industry as well as in the banking. Now last point, that is the optimize cash reverses with forecasting. Now, banks have maintained certain liquidity to meet the needs of depositors who make like to withdraw money. Now, using past data and the trend analysis, banks can forecast how much to keep and how much to invest, right? How much to keep the money and the invest the rest of the earned interest. That is how it can be optimized. Uh, the banks can optimize the cash reverses with forecasting. Now, the sixth area of application for business intelligence can be financial services. Now you may be wondering like, how is banking different from financial services, or how is financial services different from the banking, right? So in broad terms, financial services are the those services which are the uh, related to money, but not banking services, non-banking, NBFCs, what we call, right? So for example, stock brokerages are an intensive user of business intelligence systems. Fortunes can be made or lost based on the access to accurate and timely information, right? So predicting the changes in the bond or stock prices can be the area of business intelligence. By this I mean forecasting the price of the stocks or the price of the bonds is a favorite pastime of financial experts as well as the lay people. So stock transaction data from the past along with the other variable can be used to predict future price patterns. Now how it can be useful? It can help the traders. It can help the traders develop long term trading strategies and earn from the market, right? So this can also be a perfect candidate for the business intelligence. Now second aspect with respect to financial services model, uh, assess the effect of event on market movement. Now assessing the effect of event on market movement, though it is uncertain, but there are ways to predict the market, if not 100%, at least by 90-95%, or in some cases to the extent of 98% as well. All right. So making the decision models using decision trees can be created to assess the impact of the events on change in the market, the market volumes or the prices, right? For example, the let's say there's a news coming up with the RBI that they are going to change, bring the change in the repo rate. So the day the results are announced, or let's say uh, the Reliance is going to have an AGM, that is annual meeting, uh, annual general meeting, and they are going to, broadcast some new events. So those news, those moves in the market may trigger some movements in the stock markets or any market movement, right? So those can be assessed, which affect the overall effect on the market, right? The third is the identity and prevent the fraudulent activities in the trading. So like we discussed about the fraudulent activities in case of retailing, or in case of as well as the health or the wellness sector we discussed. So even the fraudulence can happen in the financial services, like the stock market and all. So how BI can be useful for uh, identifying those and prevent one prevent an institute from those fraudulence, right? So there have been, unfortunately, been many cases of insider tradings, then leading to many prominent financial industry uh, experts and stalwarts going to jail, putting behind the bars. And fraud detection model seek out seek out of the ordinary activities and help identify the uh, movements, you can say, which are irregular, not so regular pattern, which help identify and flag the fraudulent activity patterns, right? So this can also be a good candidate for the business intelligence. Now, seventh application, BI application, can be in terms of insurance, that is forecast claim costs for better business planning, then determine optimal rate plans, then optimizing marketing to specific customers, right? Like we discussed in previously in the case of, I think, the customer relationship management. And also here also identifying as well as preventing from the fraudulent claim activities. Now these claims are the with respect to the insurance. Moving on to the eighth application, that is manufacturing. Now BI can be used to uh, BI can be applied in the field of manufacturing by coming up with the models that discover novel patterns to improve product quality. The quality of the product can also be tracked, and this data can be used to create a predictive model of product quality deteriorating or changing. Right, so many such companies, like such as automobile companies, have to recall their products. You must have heard uh, in the news that many of the companies, few days back, that the Renault was had called few of the products. They have recalled their products if they have found any defects that have public safety implications and all. Right, so a few years back, I think, if I'm not wrong, 3 years back, Toyota has called their a few of the products, a particular version of the product, uh, when they found the defects in the product. So again, the predict and prevent machinery failures, that is statistically all equipment is likely to break down and at some point in time. So predicting which machine is likely to shut down is a complex process. The decision models to forecast or tell or predict the machinery failure could be constructed using past data, right? For by looking at the manufacturing capacity or the maintenance activities and all, right? So moving on with the ninth area of application, that is the telecom. Telecom sector can be also very potential candidate for the BI to get implemented. That is the first point, that is the churn management. Now let me tell you something about the churn management. That is the telecom customers. You must have observed this, that the telecom customers like us, we have shown a tendency to switch to their providers in search for the better deals. If you're not happy with any services with respect to any particular telecom provider, then there's a lot of tendency among the people like us, we including us, that we switch to the service provider which has better deals, of course, right? So telecom companies tend to respond with many incentives and discounts to hold on to the customers. So the telecom companies needs to provide a consistent and data based way or a method to predict the risk of the customer switching. Once they have this prediction of the risk of the customer switching, they can take measures and then make an operational decision in real time while the customer call is taking place, right? I hope you understood this churn management by giving you the simple example. Let's say Vodafone, after the collaboration of Idea and Vodafone, uh, it is the survey said that the customers, the previous Idea as well as the Vodafone customers, are not quite happy with the services after the Idea and Vodafone collaboration. So many of the customers are planning to switch to Airtel or Jio, right? So how a business intelligence model can help companies like Idea and Vodafone to not to switch to companies like Bharti Airtel or Reliance Jio, and in fact create a model to identify the risk and provide up with a better deals prediction for the risk of the customers who are switching or trying to make a move from the current service to the any other services. This can be done using the post data. Now marketing and product creation. With respect to telecom, marketing and product creation, in addition to the customer data, telecom companies also store something called CDRs. CDRs are called call detail records, right? Call detail records. So CDRs, these can be you know can be analyzed to precisely describe the calling behavior of each customer, which can be helpful in the marketing and product creation. Now network failure management can be used depending on the risk or the method or the maintenance capacity of the planning, equipment, infrastructure, right? So BI can be useful for that to predict, and also like we discussed the fraudulent management in terms of telecom also. There are many kinds of fraud in customer transaction, basically, like for example subscription frauds. Many of people like to have the subscription of the various services, let's say like Netflix or Amazon Prime, having this subscription for free by getting some codes, coupons or something like that. So these can be termed as a subscription fraud. A subscription fraud occurs when a customer opens an account with the intention of never paying for the services, right? Though the subscriptions are meant to be paid or meant to be charged, but the customers or people or the fraud makers, they try to find means to get the service but not to pay for those services, which can be called as in simple terms a subscription fraud. And also there can be frauds like superimposition frauds. By superimposition frauds, the superimposition frauds involves like illegitimate activity by a person other than the legitimate account holder, right? So decision rules can be developed for this to analyze each call detail records in real time to identify chances of frauds happening and also take effective actions against those frauds, right? So now next, that is last but not the least, the business intelligence application can also be applied in the area of a public sector. By public sector I mean law enforcement and scientific research. Law enforcement, how? Like it can be used by the police departments, or like the social behavior. Nowadays social behavior is a lot of more patterned and predictable than one would imagine, right? Recent cases of the one of these situation that happened in the America, that is the which initiated the campaign of Black Lives Matters. So just to give an example, like for example, let's say the Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD. This is just for the example that let's say LAPD mined the data from its 13 million crime records. They say 13 million crime records over the past 80 years and developed models of those particular areas. So LAPD was able to reduce the property crime by 27%, which is a good achievement. And then internet chatters can be analyzed to learn about and prevent any evil designs, right? That is with respect to the law enforcement. Talking about the scientific research, any large collection of research data is amenable to being mined for patterns and insights. Like we discussed about the skills, business intelligence skills that are required for any data miner, it should be mined for patterns and insights. Patterns and insights are very important to predict. Let's just for an example, talking about the microbiology, the protein folding. In terms of microbiology, the protein folding, the nuclear reaction analysis in subatomic physics, and disease control, like we discussed in the public health. And these all can be termed as some example for where the data mining can yield powerful new insights. I hope you get my point. So that's is all about the scientific research. Now, having learned about this, coming to the end of this lecture, it's already been a long lecture, but quite an important aspect have been discussed in this. And let's move on to the previous. Let's look for the some of the previous year question papers and the questions which were asked in the previous question papers. So this is here you have the December 2019 Jan 20 question paper CBCS scheme for the big data analytics, and here you can see in the module 3 the, let me zoom it out, yeah, so 5A, you can see 5A here, that what is business intelligence and what are the different business intelligence applications, and explain in detail any 5 applications. So we have already learned in the first slide itself what is a business intelligence. Taking an example, we also learned about the use case of Khan's Academy by discussing few of the tools, BI tools, right? So, and also we discussed about the business intelligence applications. So we have, according to the syllabus, according to the textbook, we have 10 defined business intelligence applications. So here in the question paper you can see we are being asked to list the different BI applications and also explain in detail any 5 applications, so which carries 10 marks, heavy marks, right? So let's and the remaining questions will be learning in the upcoming lectures, as in when we proceed for the subsequent chapters in the same module. Now let's just take the another question paper. Here we have June July 2019 question paper, and yeah, June July 2019, and here you can see in the module 3 we have a question depending on again the BI application. So here you can see 5A, write any 4 business intelligence applications for various sectors. So depending on your interest, you can choose any 4 business intelligence applications sector, and you can write about them. So this has been asked for 8 marks. So this has been asked for the 8 marks, again heavy marks. So you can see amongst the other questions, the business intelligence applications are looking like it has been asked many times, and it's been important from the examination point of view as well, right? So I hope you have understood about the concepts that we have learned today, the business intelligence concepts and its applications. Now in the subsequent lectures we'll be learning about what is the data warehousing, data mining, data visualizations and those things. So just to wind up in the conclusion, business intelligence, let's recall that, let's term this way, that business intelligence is a comprehensive set of IT tools or IT solutions, IT techniques to support decision making with imaginative solutions, which can be turned into a real-time solutions, of course, but decisions making with imaginative solutions for a variety of problems. There are a variety of problems existing, and BI can help improve the performance in nearly all industries. You can say nearly all industries and applications. So being discussed about just 10 BI applications, but those 10 BI applications almost cover all the types of industries, or nearly all industries and its applications. Right. So I think that's all for today's lecture. If you have any queries, any doubts, you can uh, put it in the subject group, or you can ask in the comment section down below, preferably in the subject group, so that everybody, those who have the same doubts, can get their doubts cleared, and everybody gets benefited out of it. So I'll conclude my lecture here. Thank you, and stay tuned for the subsequent lectures.